I'm Bo Johnson. I'm filming this video today without a green screen for the benefit of Jeremiah Thompson. Jeremiah has been whining about my use of a black background. You're welcome, Jeremiah. Now, if you have not purchased the $1 report about a Yes to Hell with subscriber and its discussion with ChatGPT about the Liberty Dialogues, I encourage you to go to jamesbowersjohnson.com and do that. ChatGPT is put into a very difficult position, for it genuflects and bows down to the Liberty Dialogues as the foundation of truth, especially as it is compared to the presumptions and lies by the federal government for more than a century. If you purchase this report, you will understand why the Liberty Dialogues is vital for your education about jurisdiction. I encourage you to do it. Get it as a Christmas gift for those you love. Now, I'd like to tell you that someone sent me an affidavit recently, 13 pages long, and asked me what I thought. They wanted to know if it was powerful or effective, if it was advanced or the kind of thing that finally beats the system. Now, the affidavit, I'm telling you now, is not powerful, and it's dangerous. Not because it challenges government authority, but because it forces one to learn an entirely new language, full of concepts that no normal person recognizes. And then you're expected to defend that language to judges, juries, and officials who will find it immediately incredulous. And you see, that's the trap. Instead of learning the basics of law, you're being told to memorize pre-1933 citizens, war power governments, all caps straw men and secret contracts, or non-resident alien claims that don't match reality. And then, incredibly, you're expected to walk into a courtroom and teach that mythology to people who already think that you're wrong. Now, this is not strategy, it's self-sabotage. Here's the truth that most people don't understand. It's far easier to learn the actual foundations of the Liberty Dialogues than it is to learn and defend fringe theories. The Liberty Dialogues don't require you to invent new citizenship categories, or create and require to learn secret history, or create and require magic words, or depend on typographical tricks. The Liberty Dialogues require that you understand who has jurisdiction, what authority was actually delegated, what is being presumed instead of proven, and where consent is being assumed without evidence. These are normal legal concepts. You don't sound crazy explaining them. You don't lose credibility the moment you speak, and you don't force a judge to stop listening. Here's what most people do not realize. You don't have to invent anything new to beat the government. You don't have to rewrite history. You don't have to speak in code. You beat the government by holding it to its own rules. The government lives on presumptions, procedures, delegations of authority, and unchallenged assumptions. When those assumptions go unchallenged, the government wins by default. But when they are forced to prove them, the government often stumbles. This is where real leverage exists. The Liberty Dialogues focus on requiring proof of jurisdiction, demanding evidence of delegated authority, distinguishing law from policy, and exposing where enforcement relies on presumption instead of fact. This is not radical. This is not fringe. This is how law actually works. Courts are accustomed to those questions. Judges understand them. Prosecutors are trained around them. And most importantly, the government is vulnerable there. You don't beat the system by trying to stand outside of it. You beat it by making it play by its own rules. I'll be specific because being vague only confuses people. And most fringe theories come off as vague and obscure. For example, pre-1933 private citizen or secret military government. This theory says the Constitution was suspended in 1933. This is not true. Courts do not recognize a secret or parallel government. Emergency powers increased authority, but the Constitution and civil governments remained in place. or the all caps names are separate legal entities. This theory says capitalization creates a different legal person. This is not true. Courts do not treat font or capitalizations as legally meaningful. They look at your actions, status, and conduct. I'm not a taxpayer. My legal fiction is. This theory says responsibility belongs to a separate fiction. That does not work. Courts do not allow responsibility to be avoided by declaration. This argument is dismissed immediately. Calling a domestic American a non-resident alien. This term has a strict legal definition. If you live and work in the United States, it does not apply. Using it incorrectly destroys credibility at once. Birth certificates or social security numbers are secret contracts. These are government records and identification numbers. They are not contracts. Legal presumption comes from procedure, not hidden agreements. Wages are never income. Courts have rejected this claim many times. Quoting cases out of context does not change the law. Blanket claims like this fail every time. Now let me throw out a word of caution here. You can take any one of these fringe theories and perhaps find a shred of truth, but when it's extrapolated out in the context of what the government and courts do or don't do, it is at that juncture that people get into trouble. Why take something as simple as any of these fringe theories and have it metastasized into something that causes you harm, rather than simply following the straight path of what is law and forcing the government to follow its own rules? That is exactly what I'm encouraging. Each of these theories has one thing in common. They force you to defend a belief system before you can even discuss law. And once you lose credibility, you lose the case. That's why these theories are so dangerous. They don't just fail, they poison everything attached to them. You end up defending mythology instead of forcing the government to prove its case. Liberty doesn't require learning a new religion. It doesn't require speaking in code. And it doesn't require convincing people of things they instinctively know are not true. The liberty dialogues are grounded, and grounding beats mythology every time. I've been in situations in court where I've used fringe theories. I have followed any number of gurus in my younger years, and I paid dearly in financial costs, efforts, and pain because of doing so. I wish I had the Liberty Dialogues when I was a younger man. Go to jamesbowersjohnson.com, and for peace of mind and for the benefit of you and your family and loved ones, get the report for $1. Get the 50-page report where ChatGPT agrees that the Liberty Dialogues represent foundational truth. And as always, may truth reign supreme.